Hi there, my name's Alan Parks, and today we're having a look around Glasgow at some of the places that feature in the Harry McCoy thrillers. We're starting off here in Gardner Street, which is in Partick in the west end of Glasgow, and this is where our bold Harry lives. He lives about 3/4 of the way up on the right. Behind there, if you go up the hill, is Heyne, which is a very expensive and very nice part of Glasgow, and down the hill and down that way is Partick, which is at the time definitely wasn't so nice. So as you can see, he's a bit between two worlds. So this behind me here is Victoria's, which is his local. So he more than often stops here on the way home to fortify himself for the big walk up the hill. Here we are at one of the most expensive areas of Glasgow, Park Circus, Park Terrace. Also the area of Glasgow that looks the most like Edinburgh, which is probably not coincidental. So quite a lot happens here. And one of these buildings here is the establishment of Madame Polo, who runs a house of, should we say, specialised ill repute, which tends to attract the lawyers, judges, solicitors, the higher echelons of Glasgow society, so that's why it's up here. Okay, here we are in just looking over Kelvingrove Park in the west end of the city. Great view if you happen to live there, if you're lucky enough. So you can see the university there, which is a large kind of ornate tower, the art galleries, and if you spin around a bit in the distance you might be able to see some high flats. That's the north of Glasgow. That's where, to be honest, most of the action of the books takes place, which is where Harry spends a lot of time up that way. Although it doesn't look much like it today, this is Glasgow's leafy West End. In the 70s, where the books take place, this was a kind of studenty, university, bohemian area, lots of flats, lots of artists, lots of pubs. So when Stevie Cooper, he decides to move here and buy a big house, which is actually the one right behind us. As it turns out, moving to the West End is not the best idea he's ever had. This is West Princess Street in Glasgow city centre. The reason we're here is because in the new book, The April Dead, the first scene takes place here. What happens is a bomb goes off, and this is a funny, at the 70s this was a funny area, Woodlands. It was lots of tiny little flats that were re-rented, no one knew who the landlord was, people didn't have rent books. So when the bomb goes off here, McCoy tries to find out A, why the bomb's gone off and who owned the flat and lived in it when it happened. We're down in the Salt Market, and the funny wee building behind me there, up to about 5 or 6 years ago, was a city mortuary. Probably the place he hates more than anywhere else in Glasgow. When he has to go, he's been sick in it, he's fainted in it, he's started crying in it, anything to avoid the blood and guts. So what he normally does is make his excuses, step out the mortuary, walk round the corner and has a seat round there. Round here is the old High Court of Glasgow. And these steps are where McCoy finds himself sitting most of the time, waiting to find out on the results of the mortuary. Is that boring?
No, it's good.